everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Tea with Mon Amie. Today, I am here with Megan Autry again for...
Hello.
Yeah, we're here with Megan Autry. We're going to rate some things. So,
yes, we are.
We are rating traditions today, wedding traditions. So this is going to be a fun one. We're going to talk about a lot of these things that we do that,
This might be my favorite one so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this one.
Yeah.
And thank you for having me back.
Of course. Thank you for coming back. So we are on Zoom. If everybody hasn't already realized that, we're on Zoom. So pardon the audio quality if you can hear it. If not, then perfect.
Yeah, little different, but it'll work.
It's nice. We're staying safe and doing all that stuff. So, Megan, we each pick 10. So
yes,
we're gonna kind of go from we're gonna go from 10 to 1, how we typically do. So, Megan, do you want to start with your first one or your 10th?
Yeah, I'll start with my first one. So coming in at number 10, I have the garter toss, which is very funny and kind of cheesy. But when I was doing research on it, it's actually very very strange. So way back when, the bride and groom had to prove that they consummated their marriage. So onlookers were involved in this process and would obtain a garment of their clothing, often a garter, as proof that the marriage has been consummated. The story goes on to say that having an article of the couple's clothing was considered good luck. So to keep things from spiraling out of control, obviously, the groom would throw items of clothing out into the hallway to keep people from coming into the bedroom. Now, I don't know if this story is real, but if you want an origin of the garter toss, this is what I found to be it. And I just thought it was very little different.
It is a little different. I always feel like with the garter toss, I always think that that's just like what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we actually doing here?
Well, that was my thought exactly too. Like, and so that's what kind of prompted me to look, where did this come from? Why is this even a thing? What's the purpose of a garter? Because I mean, there is none. But so now it's just this kind of gimmicky thing that we do just because we do it. But yeah, I thought that was very a little different.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So my number 10 is going to be jumping the broom, which some people will know and some people won't. But basically what jumping the broom is after your ceremony, when the bride and groom are leaving the altar, they jump over a actual broom. So, I mean, there's movies about it. It's a whole thing. So the reason why I've placed number 10 is because it is something that I love. I love seeing it. I think it is just like so fun. And then it is very culturally traditional, I think, more so. And I do have a couple of these on here that are more specific to cultures and traditions. But it's a little more culturally traditional, but it has a pretty unique meaning as well. So basically, the broom in old African culture, a broom was used to like ward off evil spirits. So what they were supposed to do originally is the broom was supposed to be waved over the bride's head, which I think is iconic, honestly. So they were supposed to wave the broom over the bride's head to ward off any evil spirits in the marriage or whatever. And or over the couple, not the bride's head, over the couple to ward off any evil spirits. But there's some different meanings as to why they jump over the broom and what the broom is supposed to represent. So I've heard it, or I've seen it be that they jump over the broom as the bride's promise to keep the porch clean. Like basically the bride's promise to care for the home, which I think is just like, what? Like that's
Yeah.
it's like it's a really old thing, because that's like,
it also sounds like too, like, hey, we're doing this to ward off evil spirits, but also clean the house.
Exactly. Don't forget. Don't forget that the best way to ward off the spirits is to keep the house clean. Thank you.
To clean the house.
Exactly. So there's that part about it, but there's also the interpretation of the broom itself. So the broom handle is supposed to represent men and the bristles are supposed to represent women. So there's some part about that is, jumping over that is merging the two together in union and all of that kind of stuff. So there's I think it really just depends on where you look, who you're talking to, and all of that in terms of jumping the broom. But it is a very old tradition. It is fairly common. And I don't know, it's just fun. It's fun to see a couple jump over a broom on their wedding day.
Yeah, I'd never heard of this until we had talked about it the other day. And then the more you were talking about it, I'm like, wow, there's so much that goes into this. It's very cool.
Yeah, it's really, and when we talked about the other day, you're like, what is that? I'm like, you jump over a broom. It's like supposed to stand for something.
In the name.
I'm like,
and I love too, as we're doing this, like kind of see, you also see how these traditions evolve and they grow to like over time represent more and more things. So that's what we're going to see in all of these as well, which and a lot of them are starting off with evil spirits. People were really concerned with evil spirits.
Yeah, but I think too, on that note of you saying how they've evolved over time, a lot of these traditions we do for no reason.
Yeah.
And I always I think maybe that's why the jumping the broom one was especially funny to me, is because if people knew what it was actually for, I don't think that everybody that does it would do it. I think it just becomes like a fun thing that you do in your wedding, and maybe that's just how all of these things have kind of evolved over the years.
For my number 9, I have giving the bride away. So now we kind of see this as the father walking his daughter down the aisle, and it's like a ceremonial thing where she's leaving one family to go join and start her own. So it's kind of the merging of two families and then creating a family from those two families, right? That's kind of the way I've always seen the giving, the father walking the bride down the aisle and giving his daughter away. But this tradition actually dates back to the time of arranged marriages, when the giving away of the bride represented a transfer of ownership. Mm-hmm. So back then, women were used as collateral and were given away in exchange for the bride price, or a dowry. So that's kind of where it comes from. And once again, it's like that's where this tradition came from, but now we see it as representing something completely different. So I like it for the traditional aspects. I love seeing a father walking his daughter down the aisle. It's very emotional. And then, the symbolism of her, starting a new life with her husband.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do have that one on mine as well. So I'm glad that you discussed that. I do like how sentimental it is as well. But as far as the tradition and why we do it, I do think it is a little bit dated. However, I think what I like especially about it is that the way that one has evolved is that anybody can give you away. Like if you don't have a father in your life or a father figure in your life at this point, your mom can give you away, your grandma, your best friend.
Absolutely.
It's whoever is, it's basically turned more so into less of I'm treating my daughter or the bride as property, and more so as I'm here in support of her to offer my blessing as somebody that means something to her on this union.
100%.
That's why I really like it. But definitely, I think there's been so many conversations about that and what it actually means and if it's appropriate in today's society. But I think it is based on the way that it's evolved.
Yeah, Imani, I really like what you said too, because it is anyone can give you away today. I have friends who their mothers have walked them down the aisle, and it represents, kind of like how you said it, them supporting them in their new union. So there's so many different ways that you can interpret it. And I just think it's so lovely the way we use this today.
Yeah, definitely.
What do you have for number 9?
So number 9, I have something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue. And I actually really like this tradition. So it started as a Victorian era rhyme that came from England. And They're saying, so basically, I'm just going to read you this little snippet because I feel like this probably puts it together a little bit better than I would. But it says, in that time, the something blue was usually a garter, and the blue and the old items protected the bride against the evil eye, a curse that passed through the malicious glare that could make the bride infertile. Something borrowed was preferably the undergarment of a woman who had already had children. Legend says that wearing this would confuse the evil eye into thinking the bride was already fertile and the curse would be thwarted. And then it basically just goes on to say that each item represents something different. It has its own kind of symbolism for everything, but a lot of it revolves around the idea of protecting against the evil eye, evil curses, evil spirits, just evil in general. And then also representing purity, love, and of course, fertility, because that is the big focus here in the ancient times. So, and then of course, each of these items was originally meant to be something particular. So it was kind of like they're saying that British traditional would be like you'd put a sixpence in your shoe, wish, like, it's like that kind of stuff. But now people just kind of use whatever is meaningful to them. And I love the tradition because of that. Like, it allows you to incorporate these material items that are meaningful to you. But at the same time, I do find that sometimes it's a little stressful for brides to be like, I can't find something blue. Where's my something borrowed? I have to wear my mom's veil and I don't like it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's why it ranks a little lower on my list. But every other aspect of that tradition, I really love. And I think it's a fun addition to your wedding.
Yeah. So I had this as my number one. I love this so much. And the saying actually goes something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue, and a sixpence in your shoe. It is an old English rhyme. Yes. So the 4 items represent, good luck charms that the bride needs to carry on her wedding day. Mm-hmm. And the sixpence in her shoe that's just like kind of an English custom. Yes. And then something old, they say, represents the bride's past. The new represents the couple's future. The borrowed, you borrow something from someone who's happily married as a good luck charm. And then the blue, as you said, is for fertility and love. And that's the best way to think about it. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what all the stuff that you said about the history of it, but I just think it's something fun that everybody knows. And there are so many creative ways to incorporate this on your wedding day. Mm-hmm. So, like I always tell brides for something borrowed, maybe a piece of jewelry from your mother, mm-hmm. Something old, or something old, that could even be the something old too. Mm-hmm. And then the something blue, tying a blue ribbon on the inside of your wedding dress. Obviously the something new can be your wedding gown. There's just so many ways to do it. And it's really fun. I know too, there's that, I forget the line of bridal shoes that does it, but they have like the blue bottoms, mm-hmm. which are always really fun for brides. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I love it because there's so many different ways that you can do it and incorporate it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely it's a cute tradition.
Yeah.
So that brings us to number 8. What do you have for number 8?
Okay. So for my number 8, I have having bridesmaids. So once again, the bridesmaids date way back to more ancient times when the bridesmaids dressed exactly like the bride to confuse evil spirits. Like we talked about, couples were very concerned about evil spirits coming in and primarily just affecting the bride. So the bridesmaids would wear the exact same thing as the bride, and they were there to confuse the spirits. But now, as this tradition has evolved, it's, once again, it's having the people that you love and care about the most, your family, friends, to be there and support you on your wedding day, and also to help you get to your wedding day. The bridesmaids, they are in charge of, the bachelorette party, making sure everything goes kind of swimmingly on your wedding day. So they're really there to cater to you, to make sure everything goes perfectly. And also to celebrate with you and have fun and be the closest people to you on your wedding day. Mm-hmm. So definitely we're not warding off evil spirits anymore. The bridesmaids aren't dressing like the bride. But that's where the tradition comes from. I thought that was very interesting.
Yes. I love Bridesmaids. I love that one. I didn't put that one and I kind of wish I would have because I do like
It's
it.
a good one. Yeah.
I do like it. Okay, so my number 8 is actually giving the bride away as well. So we already discussed that one. So I'll just say that it's number 8 because I like it, but it's also number 8 because of the meaning behind it, which is very outdated. but,
Yeah.
but again, we did talk about it, so I'll spare everybody us revisiting it completely. But it's my number 8 traditions. On to the next.
All right, perfect. Well, for number 7, I have the veil. And anyone that knows me knows how much I love a veil. It's one of my favorite accessories for a wedding dress. It really does. It transforms you into a bride. The longer the better, the bigger the better. I love a blusher, like a long dramatic blusher. Everything about the veil I absolutely love. And only because to me that's what makes that's what transforms the bride into the bride. Once you put that on, it's like, oh my gosh, okay, now this all makes sense. It's the moment too when you're working with the bride. When you put that veil on her, it's suddenly, wow, this is real. I'm really getting married. And that's why I love it. No tradition behind it, just strictly the way it looks.
Uh-huh.
And when you look up the history behind the veil, there are different parts of it. There are different things. So the main one back in ancient times, once again, super worried about these evil spirits. So you would put a veil over your face to ward them off and make it harder for them to get to you. Also, it's said too that the veil was there to for arranged marriages so that the groom couldn't run away because there was something over your face. I don't like that one. I think the evil spirits one is kind of cool. But I love it for the fact that it just become such a huge part of the bridal look. And I just think, walking down, the profile with the veil and the train and everything, it's just so dramatic and it's my fave.
Yes. Yeah. The veil is gorgeous. And I think that, obviously we work in bridal wear. So veil is a huge part of what we do.
At the end of the day, if a veil is not your style, if that's not who you are, you need to be true to who you are and what your individual style is. Just because it is tradition doesn't necessarily mean it's right for you. Mm-hmm. And so, I as much as I love them, I have brides who are just like, that's not me. I'm like, absolutely, you need to be you on your wedding day. And if that means not wearing a veil, by all means, I support it.
Exactly. Like I think originally it was like people felt like they had to do a veil. And now I think that brides are becoming more and more comfortable with other alternatives, which is great. But I do like that the veil is something that meaning, anything with like evil spirits, I feel like kind of gets lost a little faster. It's like, if that was what it was back in like the early 1800s, late 1700s, like by the time you got to 1925, they weren't worried about the evil spirits anymore.
No. And that goes back to what we were talking about how these traditions have evolved, because I'm not even done with my evil spirit traditions yet. I think I have 1 or 2 more on here.
Yeah, neither.
We're really concerned. But they have evolved and to represent something else. This one, I don't really see how the veil represents anything, deeper than aesthetics for me, but who's to say that it won't be for somebody else?
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's more so like what I'm saying is like, it's something that is really just based on look that has become such a staple in your bridal look, and even kind of people base other things off of the veil. Like they are like, okay, I'm not going to do a veil, but I'm still going to do a headpiece, like it's kind of just that inspired what happens now, just this one big tool on a comb, So I do agree with you. The veil is a good one for sure. My number 7 is cutting the cake. So there was actually a lot of history behind this that I had no idea about. I literally just thought cutting the cake was just something that you do. And I never understood why people made it such a big deal. Like why you stop a whole wedding to cut the cake. I've never understood. But when I found out the meaning behind it, I was like, wait a second. this is actually like a real tradition. Like this is a real part of a wedding that, and it's really 50-50 for me. I feel like I've been to weddings where they make a huge deal out of it. And I've been to weddings where they're like, we cut the cake like an hour ago. Where were you? So the cutting the cake, first of all, above anything else, and I feel like this is still the meaning of it today, and it holds true, is it's supposed to represent the first activity that you do as a couple. So,
oh, I love that.
Yeah. So that's why you're supposed to do it together. You both hold the cake cutter, you cut the cake, right? So originally though, it began in ancient Rome, which, whoa, super old, super old. It began in ancient Rome, and the cake was actually wheat or barley, and it was broken over the bride's head to bring good fortune to the couple. So I mixed my jumping the broom and this one with each other, but this one was the one that was broken over the bride's head. So it's got a little bit of a history to it. It kind of went all over the place for a second, but that's what cutting the cake means. And then of course there's different pieces to the cake, like the cake topper, which that's its own tradition in itself. And I mean, did you put anything about the cake toppers on yours?
I did not know.
Okay, so I'll go over it briefly because I feel like it kind of is all encompassed in that, and the cutting the cake thing and like what the cake is, because the cake, I talked about the cake was supposed to be wheat or barley or anything like that back in the day. But the cake toppers were started by Queen Victoria. When she got married, she had two figures that were her and who did Queen Victoria marry? I'm all talking about it like I was there. Remember when Queen Victoria got married?
Oh, Prince Albert.
Prince Albert. So she put many sculptures of herself and Prince Albert on her cake in 1840. So that's a newer tradition because, I mean, technically compared to a lot of these, 1840 is fairly recent. So
yeah, it is. Yeah.
So yeah, and then it came to the United States in 1950, which is super recent. That's like, this is a new tradition. So that came to the United States in 1950, and it was supposed to symbolize marital stability to us in 1950. But it still was, with the figures on top of the cakes, it still was more so like just very standard looking people. So people having personalized sculptures is super, super recent. That was even more later in the 1900s when people started personalizing them a little bit more, and it became more so a direct reflection of the actual bride and the actual groom versus just a bride and a groom.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I like that one. And also too, it's crazy that there's so much history behind this, because you think that, what do you eat when you celebrate something? Everybody eats cake, right? Mm-hmm. So of course for your wedding, there's going to be some sort of sweet or cake or something there because it's a celebration. So that's why I just always assumed the point of the cake was just to celebrate. And then, cutting it was just, this is an important cake, so we're going to do it together. I think that's really cool that there's so much history behind something that like you would think would just be like, why wouldn't we do this?
Exactly. And there's actually one more bit that I forgot to mention. There was so much about the cake and I was like, whoa, hold on. But there's one more bit that I forgot to mention that I thought was kind of cool too. So typically at a wedding, there's a bride's cake and a groom's cake.
I was about to say, did you do anything about the groom's cake?
Yes. So the groom's cake, it is considered good luck for a single woman to sleep with the groom's cake. I don't know who's sleeping with the groom's cake, but it said that if a single woman sleeps with the groom's cake for a year, what? Oh, no. The night of the wedding. If a single woman sleeps with the groom's cake the night of the wedding, that it is supposed to bring her a life partner.
What? No way. Yeah. That's so funny.
Yeah. So Megan, next time you go to a wedding, you better get a slice of the groom.
Hey, give me that cake. It's coming home with me.
She's taking it in a doggy bag to go. You see her walking out.
Oh my God. Yeah. Forget the groomsmen. I'm taking the cake with me.
Exactly. You're like, we have to.
That's so funny. I love seeing grooms' cakes though too, because they're usually like so like out there and different, and they're a little more fun.
I think they're funny sometimes. I think they're
yeah, they can be.
I'm like, these guys don't care about these cakes this much.
You didn't answer my question. Is it a piece of the cake or the entire cake? I really want to know, asking for a friend.
It's a slice of hey, you just need a slice
just
of cake.
You just need a little bit of frosting and you're good.
Just a
good luck.
Frosting, just smear it on the under your pillow.
There you go. Okay, I like that. That's fun.
Yeah, so number 6. Yeah, number 6. What's the next one?
All right. So for number 6, I have the bouquet and also tossing the bouquet. So once again, we're going back to like ancient Greece, ancient Rome. The bouquet was an assortment of herbs, spices, garlic, dill, some things that are very aromatic that would scare away evil spirits. So that's kind of how that originated. And then in the 15th century, it kind of moved on to mask the bride's potential body odor. And then the first time flowers were used was, you've already mentioned this, Queen Victoria and Prince Albert's wedding in 1840. She used her favorite flowers. And that's kind of how it changed from herbs and spices to floral arrangements. And now it's just, just something really pretty that we carry. It looks good for pictures. And then for the tossing of the bouquet, a little bit of backstory, kind of like the garter. Mm-hmm. Everybody wanted a piece of the bride. It was said to be like good luck to touch the bride or have something that she was holding. And so she would toss the bouquet to keep people from like grabbing at her all night long. So that's where that kind of came from. And now we actually do have a pretty awesome tradition for this now, I think. The tossing of the bouquet kind of symbolizes the passing of the baton, who's going to be next. It's silly, but I think it's cute and I really like it. And single ladies is always involved.
Yes. Single ladies is always involved.
Single ladies is always involved.
Yeah. That's definitely, I like that flowers have become such a huge part of weddings. I think now we kind of associate flowers pretty, synonymously with weddings.
Yeah. And it looks so nice. It's very aesthetically pleasing. Have you seen the picture that went viral of, instead of bouquets, the bride and the bridal party carried puppies? Did you see that?
No, I haven't seen that. I have not seen that.
Yeah, instead of bouquets, they all held like puppies. Which, I mean, I don't know how a puppy is going to behave maybe it was a quick ceremony. I don't know. But the pictures were pretty adorable. Yeah. Or they're just like running around the altar.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So my next one is breaking glass. So this is another more culturally traditional tradition. So breaking glass is basically, and I'll explain this one just because it's more culturally significant than some of the other ones. So this is in Italy. But in Italy, many newlyweds smash a vase or glass at their wedding. And you'll smash a vase or, a glass or something. And what that's meant to symbolize is however many pieces the glass breaks into will be how many years the couple will be happily married. So that's why.
Oh my God.
So much force.
What if it only breaks into like 3 pieces?
Then you do it again. But that's
why stomping on it.
That's why you'll see, like, if you've ever seen this happen, like, that's why they'll put so much force into it. You're like, why is the groom freaking stomping the heck out of the glass? Like, but that's why, because you want it to you don't want it to break, you want it to shatter. So you want all of those pieces to be there. Obviously, I mean, I've only seen it a handful of times, but I've never seen it only break into a couple of pieces. I feel like that would be super awkward.
Well, I think you also make sure you get a piece of glass that's going to shatter very easily.
Yeah. And of course, it's a little more symbolic than anything. But that's the meaning behind it. And I just think it's one of those traditions, again, jumping the broom, breaking the glass. It's very cute. It's like just little things that are hold a meaning that are so far beyond what they appear to be, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I like it. All right. So should we go to number 5? Halfway.
number 5, we're almost there.
All right. So for number 5, I have the wearing the rings on your ring finger. This also dates back to the Romans, who believed that the fourth finger on your left hand was connected directly to your heart through a vein called the vein of love. So because of this connection, this finger has been adapted, through the ages as being the perfect place to wear your wedding bands. And I just love that.
Yeah.
Super quick, easy.
Yeah, I actually had that one too. So
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I had that one too because I love that that's the meaning behind it. I love that it's very simple like that. It's just like, yeah, we thought there was a vein that connected to your heart. So that's where you go. You put
that was called the love vein.
Yeah, exactly. So I think what's really cool and unique about this is how this has evolved as well, and then on top of that, did you see why typically you pick the materials you pick for your ring?
Not know why.
Yeah. So, and I know this personally, actually, because so a diamond in Greek is meant to mean invincible. It has a meaning of being invincible. So you pick diamonds because that symbolizes that your marriage will not be broken, because diamonds cannot be broken. So you pick diamonds, and then you traditionally pick like metal elements for, I believe, the same reason, or, like silver, gold, for the same reason. I don't know for sure why you do the silver and the gold, but I know that you do the diamond because diamonds are invincible.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. Very, very, very clear, straightforward.
Yeah.
That's why you do that.
I like it. No, not really much to kind of dive in there. I just think it's really cute. The love vein.
Exactly. Love the love vein. Wish that was real. That would be cool.
Yeah.
That's ancient Roman anatomy for you, though.
There we go.
Okay, everybody. So this was a long episode, so we split it into 2 parts. So this is the end of part 1 to hear what our top 4 favorite wedding traditions are. Make sure you tune in next Friday to hear the rest of them. Until then, if you like this podcast and want to keep listening, make sure you subscribe or like us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and leave us a rating if you love us extra. You can find us on @Monami Bridal Salon on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, TikTok, LinkedIn, Snapchat, YouTube. I think I covered all of them. Of course, all of the wedding sites as well. Wedding Wire, The Knot, all of that. Yelp if you'd like. And of course, our website. If I did forget anything, it's just @Monami Bridal Salon on really anything you can think of. So until next week, we will see you guys next time. Bye.